Hello everyone, welcoming you to Shorup's classes. And today we are looking at the IES 2022 paper, General Economics part, question number 4, part A. Show that the monopolist produces output in the elastic range of the demand curve. So what is essentially the elastic range? It is basically the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand should be greater than 1. We need to show that this is the range in which the monopolist will produce the output. So part A. So the monopolist basically runs on the principle of profit maximization. So what is pi, which is a function of Q? It is revenue minus cost, isn't it? And I hope you remember one thing, that we always assume that C prime is positive and C of 0. No, we did not take this assumption right away. So cost is an increasing function of output and demand is a decreasing function of output. So that's the standard assumption that we take. And what does it do? The monopolist will choose Q to maximize by Q, right? Therefore, the first order condition is d pi dq and set it equals to 0. So dr dq minus dc dq should be equals to 0. That means dr dq equals to dc dq, which is basically the known condition, which is mr equals to mc. This is basically the optimization condition. Now we all know this for sure, that marginal cost is positive for q positive, right? That means for the optimal to exist, mr should always be positive, correct? Otherwise you can't find the optimal over here. Now what is mr? If you remember, mr is basically ddq of revenue, which is basically price, which is a function of q into q, right? So if we differentiate this, then this will be q times dp dq plus p, correct? So if we take the p out common, so this will be 1 plus q by p times dp by dq. Okay, so p times 1, taking minus of minus and taking it in the inverse form, dq dp times p by q. So what is this in the first bracket with the minus sign? It's the absolute value of price elasticity of demand. So the MR expression can be written as P into 1 minus 1 by mod EP. So now you can understand that for MR to be positive, MR is equivalent to this expression. So P times 1 minus 1 by mod EP should be positive. As price is always positive, it cannot be a negative quantity. That means 1 minus 1 by mod EP has to be positive. That means 1 greater than 1 by mod EP. That means mod EP greater than 1. That means the monopolist will always operate on the elastic part of the demand curve. Otherwise, the optimal profit maximizing condition will not be achievable. Okay, so now moving on to part B of the question. So the demand and the total cost function of the firm respectively are given by these two equations, where the notation have their usual meaning. P is the price and X is the quantity level. So we require to show that the monopolist produces output in the elastic range of the demand curve, and we need to calculate the efficiency loss of monopoly. So efficiency loss is basically the deadweight loss that we need to calculate. So this is part B of the question. So the demand function is P equals to 132 minus 8x. That means your MR is 132 minus 16x. Therefore, at optimal, we just found out that the marginal revenue should be equals to marginal cost. That means 132 minus 16x is equals to the derivative of the cost function, which will be 3x squared minus 28x plus 69. So taking everything to the right side, so 3x squared, it will become minus 12x minus 63 is equals to 0. So 3 is going out, minus 21 equals to 0. So if you just break it up, it will be something like this into factors. So x will be 7, negative output is not permissible. So the optimal output level of the monopoly is 7 and the optimal price level will be 132 minus 8x. So 132 minus 56, that basically gives you 76. So if we can just plot a small diagram to illustrate this thing. So this is your demand. This is your marginal cost, marginal revenue. This is your demand. This is your quantity. This is your price. In our case, the marginal cost is a quadratic one, so this is something like this. So the optimal occurs at this point. The price quantity level is 7 and the price level is 76. This is exactly what it is. Now, if you look at the question once more, it shows in part 1 that we need to show that the monopolist produces output in the elastic range of demand. That means basically, so if you just look at the equilibrium that we get, this is the point on the demand curve at which the monopolist operates, right? Let me denote it as EM. So if we can simply show that the elasticity of demand at this point is more than 1, then we are done, right? And this is exactly what we'll try to do. Therefore, from the demand curve, so we get basically dp is equals to minus 8 dx, right? And the absolute value of elasticity will be minus of dx dp into p by x. And we need to obtain this elasticity of demand at the optimal price quantity combination, that is p star x star. So what is dx dp? It's minus of 1 upon 8. So that is minus of 1 upon 8 with the minus outside. P will get replaced by P star and this will get replaced by X star. So that is 76 divided by 56, which is definitely greater than 1. So mod EP is greater than 1. And this shows that the monopolist is operating in the elastic segment of the demand curve. Alright. So the first part is completed. Now coming to the second part, which where we have to calculate the efficiency loss or the deadweight loss. So for deadweight loss, we know that the competitive equilibrium gives the best highest possible output level. So what is the compare? So for computing the deadweight loss, we basically compare the monopoly output with the competitive output, and hence what is the competitive output? So for competitive equilibrium, what should we have? I'm not deriving the result. For competitive equilibrium, that means basically the firm is a price taker. The firm doesn't determine the price. The equilibrium occurs, optimal occurs when price equals to marginal cost. So the price equation is 132 minus 8x is equals to marginal cost, which is 3x squared minus 28x plus 69. So taking everything on the right and this interchanging, so this will become 3x squared minus 28, so this will become minus 20x minus 63 is equals to 0. So this is again a quadratic, so 63 can be written as 7 into 9 and 3 can be written as 1 into 3, and so this becomes 7 times 27. Okay, so this we can be written as minus 27x plus 7x minus 63 is equals to 0. So 3x out, x minus 9 plus 7 out, x minus 9. So x minus 9 times 3x plus 7 is equals to 0. So x should be 9. So this is the comparative output level. So, and the price will be the corresponding level, right? So this is the competitive equilibrium where your output is higher. So what is the deadweight loss? It is basically this area, the output lost and the welfare loss due to lowering of output. So this is basically, you can understand, dead weight loss. This is the dead weight loss. So this is basically the area between the demand and the marginal cost curve from the range 7 to 9, right? So we can simply integrate it out. So let me just write it a little bit neatly once more. So this will be basically integration from 7 to 9, demand minus marginal cost, because this is the area under the demand curve and above the marginal cost curve. So we'll integrate this area to get to the answer. So the deadweight loss will be, I'm just writing it in short, the deadweight loss, it will be integration from 7 to 9, demand minus marginal cost dx. So that is integration from 7 to 9, 132 minus 8x minus 3x squared minus 28x plus 69 dx. So that is integration from 7 to 9. It will be minus 3x squared plus 20x plus 63 dx. So that means integrating it, x cubed by 3 plus 20 times x squared by 2 plus 63x. So that means it is minus x cubed plus 10x squared plus 63x. This is what it is. So if we just substitute the limit, putting 9, so the values will be 9 to 81, 81 is 729. So 729 plus 810 plus 587 minus 343 plus 490 plus 441. So this was basically giving me 668, and this is basically giving me 588, and this is 80. So this is the amount of deadweight loss that this monopoly will generate. Okay, so the answer is 80. Thank you.